What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Jonathan. Finally back on YouTube, making sports videos, analyzing sports, talking about my teams, personally and everything like that. I just finished watching the USC game. As you guys know, I'm a USC fan. For those who subscribed to me in the past, know that I've ranted in the past about USC, about how bad they played under Lane Kiffin, how bad the team was, how much of a travesty it was to watch them, how much of a disgrace it was, how much of a train wreck USC was, and it still kind of feels that way. I'm happy that we got the W tonight, but it was an escape, people. USC let Nebraska come back just when it looked like it was safe. It seemed like it was safe to say this game was over and that there was no chance that USC would let Nebraska come back. Nebraska kept fighting. They continued to fight. They continued to pile on points. There was one point in the game where USC scored 21 unanswered points. Yes, they scored 21 unanswered points, but Nebraska bounced back and they found ways to get back in the game. And that's because USC does not play defense. That's an issue that I have with this USC team. They do not play defense. It's painful to watch, people. It's hard to bear the fact that USC has so much talent on offense. They have so many promising freshmen who will return next year. They have a quarterback who could be a Heisman winner next year in Cody Kessler. But their defense lets them down every time. And I think much of it has to do with the fact that they have a boneheaded, ineffective, indecisive defensive coordinator in Justin Wilcox. Okay, I never really was sold on this guy. I don't think he's a great defensive coordinator at all. I think when he was at Boise State, I think a guy like Peterson made him look good, and you got to also look at the fact that Boise State played in a weak conference. They had a light schedule. They didn't play in a tough Pac-12 conference where there's a fast and explosive team as good as Oregon, or where there's an Arizona State who could burn you on a Hail Mary late in the game, or where there's just a team as good as Stanford as far as running the football effectively and finding the holes and finding the gaps to beat your defenders. For a while there, it felt like I was watching USC defenders sleepwalk, and basically that's all they did all night. They just slept. They just was sleepwalking out there. Okay, there was one point where Nebraska's running back carried half of our defenders on his back while they were sleeping. That's what I saw at the Holiday Bowl. I understand we pulled out the 45-42 victory, but one bad mistake late in that game and one blown defensive assignment could have just blew it all for the Trojans. And it would have been another night of misery, and it would have been just another tragedy. It would have been another loss, another painful loss, kind of like that Arizona State game. And I was just thinking, I was like, I think this is gonna be one of those. It's just gonna be one of those moments, people, where USC just blows it again, just blows it. Came pretty damn close to blowing it, but they didn't. They managed. They didn't fight in the end. And honest truth, Justin Wilcox needs to be fired. Okay, he needs to go tonight. I don't care if the Trojans won the game. He has to go. He's not a great defensive coordinator. And people were months ago saying, well, I think we should give him a chance. I don't think he deserves to get fired because he's still trying to install his system, and he's still trying to, adjust to the recruits that they brought in and these new young defensive players. No, it has nothing to do with that. I'm not buying into that because that's nonsense and that's BS. This guy makes mistakes with his plays, his play calling. His play calling is ridiculous. It's unbelievable. There's no way that USC should have blown a big lead tonight. There's no way they should have won by 3 points. They should have won at least by 20-something points. And I know people's going to say, well, Jonathan, a W is a W. You should be happy. You should just take it as a win. No, because you can always do 10 times better than what you played. Okay? It's not about escaping, people. You have to give it your all for 60 minutes in this game of college football. You don't just go out there and play half of the game, build a comfortable lead, and then relax and become complacent. It don't work like that. You go out there and you give it your all and you play your ass off. USC didn't play their asses off late. Again, they got lucky. They got lucky, and people's going to say, well, you always find a way to bitch about something, or it's never satisfying for you, or it's never good enough. You're right. It's never good enough. Because I expect better each time. I always look for things that my team can do better the next time or in that very same game. Unlike a lot of people that just celebrate a victory because it's a victory. Okay, I understand that too, and you know, I'm happy with the victory, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying that USC could have played a lot better than this. What won this game was offense. How rare is that in sports? Because usually defense wins games. But the offense won it tonight because they have all this talent in their receiver core, and then they have a great quarterback in Cody Kessler, who I think is going to be a Heisman hopeful next year. Heisman favorite for sure. But, you know, Kessler had 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was 23 for 39. We have Bucky Allen, our running back, had 26 carries, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a pretty spectacular night too, you know. Of course, you had Aguilar, who had 1 touchdown, 7 reps, 90 yards. Then, you know, the freshman that I like, Juju Smith, he played pretty well too. You know, and we have a young team that's going to be together next year. USC's building the nucleus. They recruit very well. I think Sarkisian's done a terrific job on the West Coast recruiting and everything. But it's just that we got to get this defense right. If we want to win a national championship and we want to be in conversations for a national title next season, we are going to have to build a stronger and sturdy defense. We're going to have a fearsome defense, people. We can't have a defense that just sleeps and just stands around and don't do anything. I already see enough of that when I watch the Lakers. Those players just stand around and be spectators while Kobe does everything. I see enough of that in LA. I don't need to see that in football either. I already see enough of that in basketball. I don't need to see that. And I don't need UCLA fans making fun of us either. So I expect my Trojans to play their ass off and play like mighty Trojans. Like Trojan men. Okay? Big grown men that can actually play football. Ferocious. Big defenders that can make tackles and not miss tackles and hit you hard and make you fail to convert or make the opposing team fail to convert on third downs and not pick up the third down. Don't just blow a lead. Don't just give the game away. Okay, it's late in the game. They're not going to come back. We can just relax now. No, don't. Don't stop playing. But I'm happy about the win, and I hope, I expect different results next year, for damn sure. Okay, I expect to see a different USC team. But it starts with defense. It starts with defense, and now's a good time for Sarkisian to finally, you know, address this team's needs and to, figure it out, get it together. Because this team needs to address some problems, and defense is key. Defense. I'm gonna keep stressing it. I'm gonna keep emphasizing defense, because defense is key. And that was making my head hurt tonight, watching the Trojans not defend. It just wasn't right. And then late in the game, you let Nebraska get scoring a 2-point conversion. WTF? That's what made it a field goal game. That's when I started biting my nails, and that's when moments for me became nerve-wracking. Then Kelser gets sacked, so Nebraska, they get the ball back. I was really mad at that point. But USC defense, I got to give them a little credit there, because late, they made 2 crucial stops, like that they desperately needed, and they got them. That was a difference in the game, too. But, you see, it got lost because they made more mistakes on defense than they did things actually right on defense. And then all the effing penalties. All the penalties in the first quarter alone. Just silly mistakes. Miscues. Personal fouls. Poor judgment on the field. It just cost them. This could have cost them the W, too. It really could have. So don't forget about all the penalties. I think if they limit the number of penalties and they build the defense, the Trojans can be one of the best teams in the nation next year. But until then, I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care. I'm out.